Good evening, everyone. I'm Tassinix, and it's another episode of Plotting and Scheming, addressing Season 41 5 versus 5 Grand Arena Championship, Week 1. Now, typically, we've got TJ and Dagger here with us. We've only got TJ tonight. Dagger got tied up with family stuff. So we'll probably be a little more succinct about it tonight. But hey, TJ, how's it going?
It's good, buddy. Appreciate it. Looking forward to what this week is going to hold. Last week was definitely a lot of learning.
No doubt, no doubt, no doubt. All right, now I've got to switch over to the right scene from the get-go, so I think we're going to be okay. All right. What worked and what didn't work? Well, let's have TJ sound off on that first. So, on a high level, what worked that you were surprised about and what didn't?
We'll go the work. It was nice seeing the Treya still be able to beat Riva.
Yeah.
So that was a nice thing that was a nice thing that I like seeing again, right? There were other small things, but the Treya versus Riva was a cool thing. That was probably my number one.
And that's really just having Talon and Savage in there?
So there's different pieces. Dagger commented on doing a Xeris in there, which I was able to make work.
Xeris
I
over
have
Talon?
seen, yes.
But Savage is
still
required
key.
regardless.
Savage feels like a very serious key.
Okay.
That fifth slot, I've seen Set work in there. I've seen Talent. I've seen Xeris. So I've
the
seen
fifth
multiple
doesn't
pieces.
matter. It's the trio
No.
plus Savage that matters.
You got it.
Makes sense to me. What didn't work, or did you have any other did works that you wanted to comment on?
Nothing right now that I feel like is worthy enough for the video.
Okay, that's fair.
I think that didn't works that I've really been focusing on right now. JMK has been a brand new learning experience for Jabba. I know there's other things out there that were being pretty cool that I've seen. I've seen Reva work on Jabba. Obviously SOK, but JMK trying to rework the right team concept and making sure that all the pieces move together has been tough. And I finally got it to work, but for the 2 out of 3, that did not work at all, and I was getting just hosed.
Using JMK against Jabba, you were losing.
Oh yeah, pretty severely because it was just they were getting too fast to ult, and then they were eventually killing Cat. And my other teams, they just weren't thick enough, and that's why I'm saying I really had to relearn. This week has been a lot of relearning.
I believe it. Oh yeah. There's definitely a learning curve here this first week. It was a tough one. By the way, let's just state it for the record. Where are you at right now? I'm 1-2.
I went 2-1,
Okay.
and I'm going to say why I went 2-1 versus where you went 1-2.
Mm-hmm.
Guys playing threes were pushing themselves up to the top.
Mm-hmm.
So my first 2 out of 3 matches were not bad players, but lower GP.
Mm-hmm.
So that was allowing me to have higher relics to get things that may not have worked. But when I went against Oblivion for week 3, I got bombarded, and it was a lot of good things to learn. I also wanted to make sure I got a test, but yeah, 2-1 for this week.
All right. And as for me, what worked and what didn't work. So I guess on the didn't side, Mother Talzin, Night Sisters versus Jabba. I guess I got to study Fatal's video a bit more on that, because if there is a way to make it consistent, I think I tried it all 3 rounds last week and it did not pan out for me to varying degrees. But none of them was a one-shot. I'll say that for sure. Ray, I think that that Ray Zori thing is super duper nasty. Yes, you're trading off at least one of those uniques of hers, but the Datacron more than compensates for that. That is a really brutal team on defense, and I mean, if you have like a strong RJT like Relic 8, Relic 9, doesn't need to be Relic 8, Relic 9, but just especially if you happen to have something like that, having that on the team with like Ray, Swolo, Cal, Zori, RJT like that, gross. Just gross. Disgusting. Really, really challenging. I didn't try doing Star Killer. I thought about it. I considered it. But in the end, I ended up using JMK, and it was smooth. You end up needing to have both Mace and GK, because you need to be able to have Zori out of stealth at the appointed hour, to delete her with Cat. Otherwise, I don't know how I was going to deal with that, because I see in round 1 that I chose to chunk it apart with Sith Eternal. Yeah, that presented a siege. That was definitely a tough round. Things that worked very well for me. This might help you, TJ. Afra versus Jabba was. Wait, hold on. It was Afra versus something else in round 3. It was Afra versus a preload. It was Afra versus a preloaded Lord Vader. No, it was something else. I gotta check real quick. What was it? Afra versus no, it was against. Check this out. If you can see this on screen, TJ. So I in round 3, I did Mother Talzin, did not work out. All right, did Slacker, did not work out. All right, went in with Afra against a preloaded, full health, full protection Jabba with only this Kron. Now you might be thinking, oh, he had the TM level 6. He did not have the TM level 6. And it wasn't even incredible stats otherwise. Maybe the tenacity, you might say, was helpful. But just hosed them. That would have been a 62 on the first go. So, and now that was using, I think B2 is integral to that. I liked Darth Vader because, I got him set up mighty and everything. He was able to put the hurt on somebody. I think he was the guy that finished off Scando, but I'm sure almost anyone could have done it. But yeah, I like this a lot because that was a worst case scenario and they just shit stomped it. It cost your GG team.
I would ask you if this was a from the start fresh loaded team or if there was cooldowns pulled.
There were cooldowns pulled, and Dagger made that point too. Because if the lock buff immunity thing cooldown, the third ability, is down for a while, yeah, that's a serious starting advantage. But that being said, if that was the case, they still had everything else on their side.
Right.
Excuse me, I had to take a sip of water. All right. Yes.
Man, the myth has shown up. We have Dagger in here too.
Oh, Dagger popped in?
Yeah.
Glad you could make it, man.
Sorry I'm late.
Well, it sucks to be you because I already introduced the video as if you weren't going to be here. So now, now you're the ghost. No, it's cool. I was just we were just talking about what worked and what didn't work. TJ already did his. I was doing mine. Yeah, Tuscans versus this Sana Hondo team. God, that was just a steamroll. Like they did some initial damage, and I was a little worried. You can see that we had most of our protection gone from everybody, but man, once we started taking turns, that was it. Let's see. Anything else that was surprising? Yeah, Trench destroyed this Iden. I mean, I guess I shouldn't be so surprised. Trench is probably a better team, especially with the Kron. But we didn't have Watt here. We used GBA, and GBA was actually perfect for this because just after Iden cleansed all their buffs and put up the shield and the revive buff and everything, GBA used middle, cleansed all that off. It was glorious. Another thing that worked was a great Empire split on attack for dealing with Executor. I enjoyed that, so I'll be considering that more going forward. Dagger, you?
Trench is still a god. Anybody who says he's not good can just be wrong.
Yeah, what have you been doing? What's good with him?
I full autoed. I put the tank deck on Django and then hit auto against 2 Zori teams. Like Omicron plus Datacron.
I've heard tell. I've heard tell of this.
Yeah, just completely trivializes one of the things we didn't know how to deal with last season. Starkiller continues to be fantastic.
Doing what for you?
Nope. Oh, just Ray.
Oh, yeah.
I've watched. You take Mace against the Zori teams, and you can still beat that pretty. I don't want to say easily, but consistently.
And I was just talking about that a couple minutes ago. I had like one reasonable opportunity to try that last week, and I just didn't do it, and I went with JMK instead and got the job done just fine. But I was so worried about that falling, because if that would have fallen through, that would have been a terrible cascade.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't say much surprised me this week. I didn't really travel too far outside the old comfort zone.
That's fair.
I fell down to the 300s right. I pulled a TJ. Right, I walked around and found out.
Just taking a break.
And this week was the and this week was the pounding the baby seals after finding out.
That's right. That's right. I believe that. All right. Man, give me just a second here, guys. So, all right. Well, we've all kind of briefly covered what worked and what didn't work for us. Let's talk about the takeaways. What are the real carry-throughs here to week 2? Like, what was your, like, aha, or, man, like, I won't be doing that twice? What are you taking ahead? What was an especially well-learned lesson from week?
I'll let you go first next time, Dagger. I'll go after you.
There. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. I should have orchestrated that way.
0 for 2 with JMK versus Java. Fuck that counter.
TJ was just saying the same thing.
Yeah. I don't know how many times I get my cat eaten, but this week it was twice.
Man, you guys.
I think I'm just gonna go to the old Night Sisters Mon Mothma 2-shot. That's just gonna be better since I'm 2-shotting it anyways, and I don't want to use Slacker on it. It's back there.
Yeah. Night Sisters is seemingly best case, at least for me, to a 2-shot this season, or at least based on the first one.
Yeah, if I'm just gonna 2-shot it anyways, why waste JMK?
No, I hear that. Yeah. Because JMK will still deal with the nasty Ray Zori, so.
Yeah, so, like, takeaways from this week are basically, if you're okay with voluntarily 2-shotting or Gator and JMK, you can set 7 GLs.
All right, that's a good one.
Those are my takeaways from this week.
That's a good point. That's a
if
solid
you don't
one.
have that, if you don't have that gumption, it at least allows you the flexibility to set more, especially if your opponent has a penchant for messing up for free, if you will. Those are kind of my takeaways, that we are able to flex a lot on defense. Here's will 2-shot stuff, because Bounders into GL plus Droidica, and then Night Sisters into Mon Mothma, and that's Jabba and Lord Vader gone. Starkiller versus Rey, and then like what else are people facing on defense? GL ones.
Yeah.
After versus.
Man, you're breaking up a bit, just so you know.
My apologies.
No,
I'm kind of on the go, so I was super late getting set down for the night. So again, I apologize for being late, but that's about all I got.
You ruined my life.
I think we have the ability. Yeah, I think we have the ability to set whatever we want, depending on our willingness to 2-shot things voluntarily. And that's kind of my takeaway for the week. Was if I'm 2-shotting shit anyways, why not do it voluntarily?
Yeah, I think that's probably a fair way to look at. Until we have the new set. Because otherwise, it's very easy to make a board that's just too safe. It's just very easy. You keep too much, or you set enough, but it's still rather readily cleared. Like, it seems like planning for 1-2-shot enables you to put a significantly tougher board, whether that's 6 or 7 GLs, whatever. But that's a fair point. Yeah, that's a good one. TJ.
Dagger made one call I think is a very good one, and this week made it ring true even more. Mind your B teams. It is not the time of the GL right now. Where we used to be with off meta is holding so much stronger, like the Zoris or the Tuskens, or it's Datacron dependent on what we're doing a lot of the time. But with the right builds, your B teams and your off metas are the real killer. It's either going to take down a specific GL or it's going to hold a lot of things because everybody's got this prescribed counter. But because we have so many characters, these crazy combos are coming out of teams that are holding up on defense that you would not normally see. Like the Super Ray team, right? And it's all these other pieces. So it's these these B characters and all these other things that are doing a lot of work. And you need to be mindful of that. That's my biggest one. Where Dagger said that, I was like, looked at everything that was going on. It's true. Really, right now, especially with the Datacrons.
Yeah, B teams are punching up very hard these days. So there's opportunity. Yeah, I think that's fair. Lord Vader, stomping Reva in 3s doesn't carry over to 5s. That is something I'll be taking with me. Let's see. What was another thing?
Well, not the 5 thing.
Yeah, you made the point. When I was discussing this with you the other day, you were making the point, don't actually do it with, 4 tanks. Do it with, no more than 2. Oh, yeah. Tarful, not the best team in the world. That's a takeaway, because this is my first time seeing it in the wild. But I will say, Wampa is not a solution to it, because, they're stacking defense, and they're able to turn that defense into offense, and I ended up having 2 stacks of armor shred on Wampa at the point in the fight where Zalbar ran up to me. This Relic 9 Zalbar belonging to Arsenal. He's a bigger boy, and he just slapped my Wampa out of existence for 223,000 damage. So it's yeah, alright, so no Wampa then. There was something else. There was something else really cool. Maybe it was in round 1.
And that's worth noting because I got Wampa to work versus Perfect.
Oh, you broke up. You got Wampa to work against what?
An R5 version of that team.
Got you. Hey, do you
guys...
Say, sorry, go ahead.
Not all teams are created equal, right? Like you just said. You got to think about the character and the team where Arsenal had a hugely built squad, right? There was a lot of investment into that team. It wasn't just some standing team put together. It was here, these will work as R5. It's no. This was high mods, high relics, and it had all the tools in the right places. So you can't go in assuming everybody's created equal.
Oh, yeah, and I actually did ask Arsenal, and he ended up sharing with me his spec for that team. So I might look into it in the long term. It's in the medium to long range plan kind of thing right now. Because, a bunch of those characters are going to be, Mission and Zalbar, for example, are both going to be pretty damn strong just for raid purposes. So, But I found the droid I was looking for. Wampa versus GG, you're looking at the Separatist Crons, and I faced in the first round somebody with the immunity to daze level 6, and just blew right through, 68, no worries. Later on in the week, I faced the one where it's, when they go to 50% health, they get damage immunity for a turn. It was still no impediment. You get stuck on Droideka for a while, but because of your stacking protection, this is, of course, the key, is the stacking protection up level 3. Because you've got that rolling on everybody that isn't Droideka, you're able to withstand the punch. And basically, everybody else kind of kills themselves. You end up maybe slapping a couple people out of existence, but then once Droideka drops damage immunity, you're able to slap it out of existence and clean up the fight. But you'll be stuck on Droideka for a while because he's going to get that mark. That's a good one for me. Wampa is tough to find applications for. I'm sure, where you're at, Dagger, I'm sure you're able to Wampa almost anything you care for. Where are you at right now, TJ?
I am right under 50, so I think I'm top 48. I think it's 41 to 48 is my bracket.
Haha, you absolute scrub. I think I'm 70-something.
So that would make you scrub yours.
Just a smidge outside the top. I'm also just a smidge outside the top 100, so let's calm down with wherever he daggers.
I thought you said 300 somethings. That's my bad.
You started there.
That's right. That's right.
Then I went 3-0.
That's right. All right. Well, hey, good. Good for you. Good for you. Okay. All right, yeah. Well, guys, we really crushed through this week. Where are we at on the time? Yeah, just over 20 minutes. So I think it's a good enough time to move to final thoughts. Oh, you know what? What do you guys think about? Maybe since it looks like we're ahead of schedule anyway. Any unsolved questions for you from week one? Anything that you're still walking into week two? Like, if I see this with what I'm planning to do, I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to handle that.
Java.
Java is kind of your wild card, all right. Because JMK is no longer a sure thing. And Afra without the Kron from last season is less, not a sure thing. So fair enough.
Honestly, Seer. If I see a Seer team, I don't know what to budget because I know how to overkill it, and I can bad batch. What happens if I need to bad batch something else? Like there's something more pressing.
And it's so easy to set a bad batch fork.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, that's honestly like low key one of like the things I'm a little nervous of is now that we're getting to a place where people are going to start having these Seer teams. I don't have a good answer for a bulk team. Yeah. I have good answers for burst damage teams or tanky teams, or not tanky, but like more control elemented teams, right? Like I have like Freya is good against debuffs, right? But I don't have a good answer for something that's just I'm big. I want you to go first. I want you to take turns, and then I'm going to smack the shit out of you. I don't have a lot of answers for those kind of teams.
Oh, I understand. All right, fair enough. TJ, any unsolved questions for you from week one that you're kind of still about going into week two?
Not enough right now because it's not all right.
Nice.
So I think I have some good answers for Java, but it's more of the combination of how the teams are set is what is my concern.
Yeah,
it has nothing to do with one team, right? I don't have to look at one team and say that because I have ideas for what I think I'm going to do for Java from all the stuff I've been watching and the studying and all that. I have some ideas, but if one fails, what do I do for the next, right? And if you put a certain, and I'm not going to give it here on the video, you guys just have to play me to find that out. But I will say, if you put enough of the pieces together for the puzzle, do I have the answer to solve that, right? That's my concern right now.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I will say this. Not that this has been something I've worried about. One last thing on this. Not that it's been a big part of my bag, so to speak, but the tension on Treya and Afra right now with what they can punch up into and then what they're required to be used against is something that's going to leave a lot of people forked, including myself. And I mean forked as a double entendre here because you can replace the O and because that you can just put one up top and one in the back, one in front, one in the back, and I'm just done, right? Like,
yeah.
I think people are going to have to be creative, or me especially. And I don't excel.
Well, feel free to watch my my VODs from last week. I think I got them all up on YouTube now, so you could just click through real quick because man, did I have some slogging. Maybe you can glean something from that because that was agonizing for a couple of those rounds.
Man, if I wanted to walk on a fail, just
oh, you broke up so bad, right? Dude. Absolutely unintelligible.
Okay, well,
now you're back.
If I wanted to go look at fails, I said if I wanted to go look at fails, I could either look at TJ's history or watch your VODs.
There you go. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Quick, handy, like screenshot reference, and then you have video reference for detail. You got to admit, a how not to is second best. A how not to do is second best to a how to. You know.
Yeah.
So you're welcome.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting around to.
You have a lot of options. If I want to figure out what not to do.
Yeah, for me, I guess it kind of branches off what you were saying there, Dagger. For me, it's mostly just Afra. Afra's kind of a thorn in my side right now. Because of everything else that I'm, like, having assigned out, like TJ said. So, I think I used JMK one round. Then another round I did a cooldown pull and used JML to obliterate it. But man, that one can be stressful because everything else you can kind of maybe punch up into. So maybe I do something like keep JMK as a wild card if I encounter more of those. But yeah, that's about it from me. All right, guys. Final thoughts. I'll go first just to tee you guys up. You know, it was a sweaty first week here. We're in the last season of whatever this orange set is. This current set, is it 7 or 8? I don't even know. But I look forward. I look forward to seeing what rotates in because this feels kind of stale. I'm ready. I'm ready for change. I'm ready for change, and I'm also ready for this hideous Zorikron to go into the wilderness and die. All right, that's it for me, TJ.
I'm just ready, man. That's all it was. Just prep and be ready to go. So I've gotten actually all the mods in the right spot. So now it's just again. I'm sure this week will be more learning for what I can do and what I can't do. But you know me, I'm gonna try to get tricky and switch the things up and see how it goes.
Sounds good. Dagger.
I've really been enjoying these two sets paired together. I think it's brought nuance back to GAC. I am ready for the Sorticron to be gone, though.
Fair.
I think I'm ready for it to be gone. If we're picking one.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
But yeah, I also look forward to figuring out the future, right? The Afrocron's gone, so we have to figure out what to do with Afra. We have multiple saving Reba, so like I said, the Treya and Afra thing is just something I really look forward to figuring out what to do with my own and what to do against my opponents.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you both so much for your time. I'm glad we're all able to make it. All right. So yeah, I'll get this uploaded here for the patrons immediately, and for everybody else, we'll see you here on Friday. And yeah. Plotting and Scheming Round 2 will be up, early next week based on the Week 2 results. So, until next time, it's been real, it's been awesome, it's been real awesome. Take care.